Welcome back to Straight Facts, joined by Have Hope Sunday evening. How are you, my friend? How are you?
Oh yeah, yo, all good, man. Again, I think we'll obviously get onto the events of last night's bloodbath. But yeah, I'm just sort of having a nice back and forth with Chelsea fans on social media with the state of the club, man. So it's been. I mean, I went for a nice walk though, and I played football for the first time in about 2 or 3 years, and I almost collapsed. So that was nice to have some refreshing thing.
I hear you on it. And yes, we will be touching on last night situation, Tuchel pressure building. We're also going to be talking about the Jules Kounde deal. A done deal is expected very, very soon. But
but sorry, how have you been?
We'll get on to me in just a second. I want to give the viewers let know what's coming up. Yeah. So we're talking Jules Kounde. Lots of conflicting reports today. Fees agreed, fees not agreed. Green lights, red lights, blue lights, yellow lights. Lots of different things to delve into and break down for you on Jules Kounde. We're talking Harry Kane to Bayern Munich. It may have been debunked, but what if a real bid goes in? Arsenal fans getting excited about the potential of Jarrod Bowen maybe coming to Arsenal. Is he the mystery winger that they are linked to? And we're also going to be talking Jules Kounde as well after the Barca press have changed direction again and now claim that Barcelona are confident the player will leave. But from my point of view, I'm very well, my friend. Very well. Nice warm day. Weather's good. Enjoying the preseason games. The Premier League is less than 2 weeks away from starting. So, yeah, could not be happier, my old mate. Could not be happier with how things are right now. And
I think it's just going to be such a weird season because of November and what's going to happen. The fact that it's starting so early. And we'll obviously get to the whole point of I think it's going to catch people off guard with how early the season is starting and also the whole mid-season World Cup thing. So it'll be weird.
Yeah, it's listen, I'm looking forward to it. It means there's almost 2 games per week for the top 6 sides. You then get a World Cup straight. It's like a 2-week break, straight back in with a transfer window and the season starting again. It's gonna be excellent. I cannot wait for it. I wanted to start actually by talking about the Frenkie de Jong situation. We'll move on to the other subjects throughout the course of this. So stay with us, people. If we hit 1,000 likes while we're live, we will gift out 10 new memberships to you. That's 1,000 likes, and we will gift out 10 new memberships. So make sure you're smashing that like button. But I wanted to start off by talking about Frenkie de Jong because last night he was played at centre back when he came on, so not even brought on into the midfield area. Xavi's praised him. I see him as a centre back essentially. He was then told after the game, in no uncertain terms by Barcelona, "You have got to leave." The reports from the Barca press have changed direction again. They are now stating that he will leave. Do you feel like it's coming to the end of the road for Frenkie de Jong now? Even though Laporta again said, no, we're not selling him. We all know that's nonsense. Do you feel like it's coming to the end of the road with Frenkie de Jong now? Because it's sort of like I don't know where else he goes from here. They're not playing him in the central midfield. They're playing him as a centre-back. They're telling him he's got to leave. The Barca press are saying he's got to go. They're talking about how unhappy he's been looking in training. Do you think this is coming to the end?
To be honest, I have no idea. That's the honest thing is that if I come out and say this and that, a new story will come out tomorrow because, now we're now saying he's playing at centre-back and so forth. But then you look at the reports when Sky Sports tweeted out that De Jong doesn't want to go to United because he doesn't agree with the state of the club. And because of the state that United are in, he doesn't want to go. And that's from Sky Sports. So you can't just say, that's a bias because it's coming from the Spanish media. So with one of these things, the story keeps on changing. It's very hard to call anyone's bluff. It's like a weird game of poker between Spanish media, English media, and so forth that let's just see how it goes through. Now, if you're just going to put a gun to my head and say, what do you think happens at the end of the summer? I do feel that when everything is said and done, I do believe that De Jong is eventually going to go. Because if you look at Pedri, you look at Gavi, you look, I think it's a Nico Gonzalez kid, I'm not sure, but you look at Kessie. But specifically Kessie, Pedri, and Gavi. Those are guys that Xavi prefers a lot more. And also Busquets. So you've got Busquets, you've got Kessie, you've got Pedri, you've got Gavi. Those are 4 guys that Xavi will prefer ahead of Frenkie de Jong. So and also Laporte, the guy just talks nonsense. The reality is this. De Jong doesn't want to leave Barcelona. And De Jong doesn't want to leave Barcelona to go to Man United, for sure. But I do feel that for Barca, they're like, if we keep him cool, but would prefer to let him go because we have other guys that can take his position, namely Kessie, and his wages are just far too high. So I think at the end of the day, I don't want to come out and say, oh, boom, 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 boom. All that matters is what happens at the very end. At the very end, I do feel probably like in the 11th hour.
It's interesting for me. That Sky Sports report wasn't a Sky Sports report. It was on their website. It was in their paper roundup, and they just quoted the sport from Spain. So it was the same Spanish report. They just reported it 2 days later. Slow Sports News. So that wasn't Sky Sports' own news. Interestingly, it's the Barca press who keep changing direction. The Barca press in the beginning of the summer, for the first 5 weeks, was so consistent. The club don't want Frenkie de Jong anymore. They need him to leave for financial situations. He's willing to join Manchester United. He's agreed terms, or he's willing to join, or he's open to join. They were so consistent. The last 2 to 3 weeks, it's all flipped. The British press were up and down. Now the British press are all predominantly saying the same thing, with a few exceptions. Players happy to join Man United. United have agreed the fee with Barcelona, but the player is not going to give the green light until the deferred wages are resolved. As soon as the deferred wages came up, the Barcelona press have been, they're not selling him. He doesn't want Man United. He isn't going to leave. Chelsea have come in. It's all come from Barcelona. And then a complete U-turn last night from the same journalist again saying, Barca are now pushing him to go. Barca want him out. Almost as if the last 2 weeks of bluffing hasn't really worked. And the player's going, I'll leave, but pay me my money. Otherwise, I'm going to sit here and earn that £17 million next year. And then the year after that, I'm earning 35 million. Give me my money and I'll go. Or at least come to a compromise with me. I always think a compromise will work. I reckon if they offered him £15 million cash, he'd go, like as an example. So, but my end result is I'm in the same space as you. I think this deal will happen. But what I love about this transfer, and a bit like Jules Kounde that we'll come on to soon, it's the fluidity of it, how things are almost there, and then somebody pulls the rug from under everybody's feet. I sometimes wish my club wasn't involved because I enjoy the hustle and the bustle, the to and the fro, the fluidity of that element. But I'm not surprised to see Frenkie de Jong looking upset. I'm not surprised to see Frenkie de Jong being played in a centre-back role because I semi-predicted it. I didn't know exactly what they would do. But my question 3 weeks ago, where everybody was saying, oh, he'll refuse to leave if he isn't paid, is, well, what will Barcelona's response to him be? What position will they give him? Will he sit on the bench? Will he be ostracized? Will it damage his career? Because if that's what they're looking to do, you're far more likely to get him to leave because at the end of the day, he's going to want to play football and play in his preferred position.
No, okay, but let me ask you this though. I mean, does it because I think you sort of mentioned this weeks ago. Doesn't it worry you that you're trying to vie for a player who isn't excited to come and join Man United? But it's not a case of like he's like, oh, I really want to join United. It's a case of like, oh, no, I have to.
So this is what's been missed. Again, it's all about who you believe. What's been reported by about 3 or 4 credible journalists that I respect is that there are clauses within the deferred contract in the agreement they signed to defer their wages, public statements of wanting to join other clubs, transfer requests, etc. These things can forfeit you money. I totally believe that there is an element, whether you want to use the word open to joining, excitement, happy to join, bouncing off the walls. I don't really care about the adjectives to describe it. I care more about, I think he's willing to join. So I don't believe the stories that state he doesn't have a willingness to join Man United. I just don't personally believe that. The same as today. There's credible journalists saying that no fee has been agreed between Sevilla and Chelsea in any capacity. I disagree because there's other journalists that I trust and people I've spoken to behind the scenes that have said, no, like agreements have been made. So it's not that I'm saying that journalist is lying. I'm saying that I don't believe the source is giving you that information. No, but that's my point. Yeah.
On that, though, it's like, if you say the willingness to join, because where I'm sort of lost and confused is where is the willingness for De Jong to join apart from Ten Hag, which I don't think is a strong enough pull. Because my thing is, you're at Barcelona. You're in the Champions League. They just bought Lewandowski. They just bought Rafinha. It's an exciting team to play in. Man United, they're in the Europa League. You're coming in with a manager who you already worked under and you left because you were trying to progress your career. So you're going back to that manager. It's like a step backwards. And you're coming into a team that is still in a rebuild. The midfield really isn't there that can really cater for you. And you're in a competitive league in which there are no guarantees you'll make top 4. So I don't really understand what arguments De Jong can have to join in Man United?
I think it's this. As I said all along, I think if a Chelsea came in seriously or a Bayern Munich came in seriously, I think that you guys would take him away from us easily. I really believe that. But my counter argument is my answer is more of a question back to you. If Barca force him out and he has to leave, and Man United's the main choice that he's got, what's he going to do? Retire? No, he's going to be professional and he's going to go and play there. And I think that if we're the only option,
but that isn't a willingness, though. That is like
that doesn't matter. He's a professional. He's a professional football player, and I don't believe. Just like you guys are chasing Jules Kounde. Jules Kounde's preference,
is Barcelona. Same with Rafinha.
If he joins Chelsea, he'll absolutely play to the best of his ability because he's a professional, and that's what Frenkie de Jong will do. In my so for me, it's not this. He doesn't have to have this burning desire. This oh my God, that's the place that I want to be above and beyond everywhere else, you know. And I think that for me, I mean, Zinchenko said it the other day. His boyhood dream was to play for Arsenal. He grew up an Arsenal fan. Did that mean he didn't give his all for Man City because he had a burning desire to be at Arsenal? Of course not. You know, he wanted. I don't.
No. Look, everyone's a professional. Wherever you go and play, especially when you're paid so much, you will play to the best of your abilities. But my whole thing from United's point of view is how much they've been trying to chase this guy of a Frenkie. Because I think what the guys have been saying is, don't you have other targets that you can go for? Is Frenkie really the be-all and end-all for United to go for? I know he's important, but if this has been proven to be so difficult, maybe look elsewhere. So
I agree with you, but I think what you're doing here is you're missing. I think you're missing out. The one thing that a lot of Man United fans believe, because it's been reported, is that Ten Hag and the player have spoken. I believe there's a willingness and excitement. That sounds like a good product I'd like to be involved with. I'd like to play with you again. I think if Frenkie de Jong on the phone was like, oh, you know what, Erik, I'll join you if I have to, I think Erik could walk away. I don't think Erik would be stupid enough to just sign a player that was like coming in depressed. That's my view. That's why I get the point. I get the question, but it isn't one I'm too worried about. There's been a tweet actually from Fabrizio while we're talking. It says Man United are well informed on Salzburg talent Benjamin Sesko. He's one of the players monitored, considered really talented, but it's not imminent or advanced deal as of now. Man United are aware of Cisco as other clubs are informed too, including Newcastle. I don't know much about this guy. 19 years of age, striker, scored like 11 goals last season. Young, up and coming Slovenian international. Big, tall guy, actually, like 6'4". Be interesting for us to be linked to a player that isn't from Ajax or Holland. But there we go. But viewers on Frenkie de Jong, I want your views and I want your opinions. Where do you think he ends up? We've still got Jules Kounde news to come. Harry Kane to Bayern Munich to speak about as well. Bowen to Arsenal. And we will be reviewing last night's game between Arsenal and, of course, Chelsea Football Club. If we hit 1,000 likes while we're live, I'm going to give away more free memberships, so get them done. Super Chat here actually says...
Omo, how you day, HH? How things day your side? Basically, that's it's pidgin. It's a slang that we have in Nigeria.
There we go. I was reading that.
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro.
Andrew says, as a former Barca fan, it is so sickening how they treat their own players and legends. Pep, PK, Enrique, etc. Is what's better. FC.
It's more of the presidents, though.
Yeah, it is. But football clubs are ruthless. Like, this is why a couple of years ago I stopped being angry at players for not showing loyalty, because what I actually saw is clubs are far less loyal than players. They really are. Yeah. Question for De Jong. Does it worth all this situation and being degrading, humiliation for money? They are millionaires. HH equals 0 brain cells.
Oh, Nabil, thanks for that, you clown. Thanks for that, you clown. Thanks for that, you bum-ass clown, Nabil.
Listen, I get your point, but no, De Jong has every single right to fight for his money, because he's not fighting for the money he's going to be owed in the future. He's fighting for the money he's already earned. So he knows next year his salary goes up to 35 million a year because of the way it works. But he's willing to walk away from that. He just wants the money that he's owed because he's done the work, he's played the games, he's been there. And I think that's absolutely fair. You know, I wouldn't walk away from that. In fairness, I wouldn't walk away from any kind of money. I would say the story. I worked at a business an extra 2 months when I wanted to leave and join a new job because I would have defaulted from the bonus they owed me. And I'm like, I worked hard for that bonus. I'm staying until I goddamn get it.
Moochie.
Screw your rules. Screw your rules. The big deal though at the moment that's kind of circulating is Jules Kounde. Now we've titled this video with Kounde done deal soon, and that's because in the next week this is all expected to be finalized. Nobody knows what direction yet. Nobody knows what direction this deal is going to go in. Nobody knows how this is going to end up. Everyone's got a feeling. To round up some of the headlines today, you know, there's the Sevilla press, and I've been talking to a couple of them privately, DMing them, having conversations. They say the sale to Chelsea is virtually closed. You've got Nazir Kinsella that said that Chelsea still not agreed a fee with Sevilla, which is, of course, different to what the likes of Fabrizio and Ben Jacobs and that said the other day. From verbal agreed to the deal was agreed. They were just waiting for like the green light or the rubber stamp to sign it off. That's why I always differentiate done deal between deal completed, because you can agree a deal but not complete it.
Yeah.
And Simon Phillips has said this afternoon that Barca, as of now, have not made an offer. I am told any offer would be 25 million less overall than Chelsea's. So the reports are so interesting in terms of where this is going. And the Barca press are all saying it's done. He will be a Barcelona player. So the difference now in opinion, the different stories surrounding Jules Kounde are so conflicting. Where do you see this and how do you see it going?
Terry, I've got to keep it real with you because the name of the show is Straight Facts, not straight lies, not straight opinions, not straight thoughts, straight facts. So I've got to give it to you straight. I've got to give it to you factual. This seems eerily similar like Rafinha. You know, I wanted the Ra to come to Chelsea. I just saw him score a crazy banger of a goal against Real Madrid last night, and just after Chelsea did what they did. So this seems so similar to Rafinha. It's the same story. Kounde prefers Barcelona, and he's trying to wait and do everything he can to push this so that Barca can prepare and create a bid for them. So we now take things over to Sevilla. This is a bit different from the Leeds one. Leeds, they felt indebted to Rafinha because of how he helped them stay up. They felt, you know what, Rafinha, what do you want? Because we have a good rapport, all right, we will wait until Barca can get their funds together because that's where you want to go. That's your dream. Are Sevilla indebted into Kounde? That's the first thing. Second thing, Barca are in the same league. People would argue that Sevilla are like the third or fourth best team in La Liga. So why would Sevilla want to strengthen a team that they could potentially compete with in La Liga? You see, Leeds were sending a guy over abroad. So my thing is, it makes sense for Sevilla to accept what Chelsea have because, look, the money is there, the bid is there, take it. So logic states for me that this is different from Leeds because I just feel that Sevilla are not as indebted to Kounde as Leeds were with Rafinha. So take the freaking money. So the fact that it's still dragging on and on and on leaves me a little bit queasy. But the reality is is that I don't rate Kounde that highly. And I've always been about, okay, if that's who Tuchel wants, that's cool. But I'm now seeing the trash that Tuchel has now been doing in the past two legs, once against Charlotte's Web and the second time against Arsenal. So I'm like, bro, I don't even know whether I could even vouch for him. So if Chelsea were to lose out on Kounde, cool. But again, it's another L because Chelsea will link with Lewandowski. Where did he go? Linked to Rafinha. Where did he go? So to take 3 L's to the same club in the transfer markets, that's tough, man. So Terry, my lips are sealed. Because if I now say it has to be Chelsea, Barca will probably come with some kind of crazy installment bid after they've pulled like another lever, and then boom, he's now off to Barcelona.
Well, that's what I mean. The way Fabrizio has reported on it, he's kind of said that Kounde, Barca preparing opening bid, won't match 55 million, as the structure will be different. Now, some people are saying it might be less money, 25 million less, but they'll pay it quicker. Then you turn around and go, but that doesn't matter. This I say to people, the speed in which you pay the money isn't important because the way the accounting works, when you sell a player, it shows up on your profit and loss instantly, meaning the money is technically shows up straight away, the whole fee, even though you don't get it for a period of time. But 25 million pounds less to strengthen a domestic rival seems strange. Plus, 20% of the transfer fee goes to Bordeaux. So if they take £25 million less and then lose another further 20%, it's a huge amount of money they're missing out on here for a very, very top talent. And you think again, this is why I still look at it, and Chelsea have got I think it's similar to Rafinha. I agree with you. And I know there's a nervousness. And what I've seen from some of the British-based press around this, I feel like they've got a bit scared. You know, they're the ones that they're the ones that told us all on Friday, the deal he will sign. The deal's done. They've beaten Barca to the player. You know, as I tweeted, deal is done. It will complete. I was adamant based on those conversations, and then in the last moment it didn't. And I'm not going to lie, I love transfers like that. For me, it's exciting. When I saw in the morning that Barca were back in, I said it earlier. I love that element of transfers when my club's not involved. When it's my club, the pain is there. Right? So it's an amazing transfer in terms of the ebb and the flow, the fluidity, what's going to happen. But the British press are still saying that Chelsea are the favourites. The Sevilla press are saying it's going to close and be a Chelsea deal. The Barca press are dismissing everything that Sevilla press and the English press are saying. Says no, he will become a Barca player, which means everybody's being fed something different. The British press are just not being as brash. The British press are kind of writing, Chelsea are the favourites, but Barca could take him. That way, like both angles are kind of covered there, which I understand and totally get. And that is the truth. That is the truth in the long and the short of it is that's the truth. What I would love from especially the tier 1 Chelsea presses, well, what are your Chelsea reps telling you? Like, fully, are they confident now? Because for 2 weeks, it was they're very confident of pulling this deal off. Now, suddenly, it's like they're leading, but we don't really know what's going to happen. But maybe that is just a reality, as I would say. It's such an intriguing deal to kind of look at from the outside in. It really, really is.
But what's crazy, though, look at how Chelsea have been trying to sign this dude since dinosaurs walked the earth. That's how long Chelsea have been trying to sign this Jules Kounde dude. So the fact of, like, you've spent so long and to lose it at the finishing line would be bad. Would be bad, you know. But I think Chelsea have a lot more bigger issues than trying to get Jules Kounde wouldn't solve all the issues that Chelsea currently have. So
no, look, Chelsea definitely need more after him than that. But it's an intriguing deal. We've got a poll running actually. 1,600 votes already. 60% think that Barcelona will land Jules Kounde. 39% think that Chelsea will get that done.
That's just haters, man. You have haters in the chat. It's just haters, man. Haters.
The comment here from man like Zane: 2 streams in a week after you've been gone for months. I appreciate your return. He says, Terry, did you see our masterpiece last night? We are on for third. Never mind Martinez you bought. Saliba is way ahead of him. I mean, Arsenal were brilliant last night, weren't they? I mean, they absolutely butchered Chelsea.
I mean, like, as I said again, it was bad. It was a beating. And like any Chelsea fan that looks at that game and isn't worried or isn't somehow humbled, then you're lying to yourself, because Arsenal looked very, very good. And I think obviously we're gonna get to it a lot more, but Jesus, man, that's a player. It
is. I mean, you've been quite damning, though, of Tuchel. I mean, Tuchel out was trending last night. Do you think that's too much of a knee-jerk reaction, though? Like, is Tuchel really under that much pressure?
I mean, it's weird because it's like Abramovich isn't around anymore. If Abramovich was out, this guy, literally, it would be like a countdown as to when he'd be sacked. We don't know how Bowley rolls. But I think the issue that people have with Tuchel is, what's your game plan? What is your philosophy? What do you want your team to do? Because at least because Sarri had a philosophy, whether you like it or not, he had a very particular way of playing and a very particular philosophy and a personality. Same with Conte. The issue with Tuchel, and I think the danger is, the way he manages actually works well for cup games, but not for league games. That's why he does so well in the cups, because you have 7 or 8 games. Can you come up with a strategy to now beat your opponents just for this one game? When you have 38 games, you need a consistent personality every single week, which he doesn't have. So guys saying, bro, like, this is your summer. You have your players. You can pick your players and so forth. I know that you need more players and so forth, but still, Sterling is there and everything. And this team is playing as if, like, they're 8 weeks, 9 weeks behind schedule. Like, the football is horrible. and it's been trash since last season. So, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just bad, bro. Because if the football is bad and people don't have any direction, you have to look at the manager because he's the captain of the ship. So,
yeah, I get he's the captain of the ship, and I think there is a lot of pressure, but it sounds like he's feeling it. Like the way he was talking, I don't think we'll be ready for the start of the season. There's lots of players playing that want to be gone. Like things, it was interesting because it's the first time I've really listened to him speak this summer, and he just didn't look, sound, or have the body language of a manager who feels confident right now. And I think that if you're one of the other top 6 and you're a team that's got its eyes on the top 4, a Champions League place, the domestic trophies, you're probably looking at Chelsea and kind of, that meme of that dude who's got licking his lips, got his hands together.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably how you're looking at Chelsea right now. You're thinking, hang on, this could be a team that we could knock out the way, especially if they perform like they did last night. However, at the same time, I've seen teams have terrible preseasons, and time balls are kicked in real life, they turn that on, they turn it on. So I'm not writing Chelsea off. It wasn't a very good look. On Arsenal, though, honestly, they look scary. They look really, really scary. Really good, really powerful, hardworking. And again, they've got to make that actually happen in those opening few games and then grow from there. But if Arsenal play like that on the regular, they're going to be a threat next year in the Premier League.
Well, not like for me. I've always felt that Pep Guardiola held back Jesus. That we didn't see the full Jesus under Pep. What you're not going to see from Jesus is, okay, I now have my buddy in Martinelli next to me right now. Saka's there. I can now express myself, and just how you've seen him play, the freedom he's playing with, the way he's linking with guys, you didn't see it under Pep, which is a very micromanaged system. Yes, Arteta worked under Pep. I think Arteta, there's a lot more freedom to express yourself as opposed to what Pep wants, where he wants to always pass the ball. So if Jesus pops off for Arsenal, they could be a threat. Because if this guy really pops off and really connects well, they could be a serious threat. Because Arsenal almost got fourth without a striker. Think about that, Terry. Eddie Nketiah, look, lack of threats. Without a striker, they almost got fourth. So now they actually have a goal scorer, a striker, and actually a quality player. So basically, the Premier League is going to be crazy next season. It's going to be crazy next season because you cannot. If Jesus is playing like that on the regular, you can't ignore them. You can't. So
without a doubt, and Jesus' finishing is very good at that, and I think that's what he's always been there. What impressed me the most about him was how he got out of tight spaces. His touch and his turn, his speed on the ball, his quality in possession, and I think that he was just overlooked at Man City. And I knew that and felt that because it happened at my football club. It happens at, when the great Man United teams, the great Chelsea teams of the Premier League era, the great Arsenal teams, Barca teams, there's so many players within those teams that were kind of overlooked as bit part players, but they were actually very, very good. Arsenal had a player. He's a pundit now that winds everyone up, but there was a player at Arsenal called Paul Merson. And Paul Merson was out of this world as a football player.
That guy was good.
Because of the other superstars that Arsenal had, he was kind of looked at by the new generation as like, oh, he's all right. And then he left and he went to Middlesbrough and other places and was absolute dynamite, carried on playing for England and was very good for England, of course, battling those demons as well. I always think, imagine how good Paul Merson would have been if he wasn't addicted to drugs and alcohol and gambling. Like he could have been even better. But there's always been players like that. And I think Gabriel Jesus will be one of those who leaves, becomes the main man somewhere. And if he maintains this streak of form, this confidence that he's got that oozing through him, he's going to be a serious, serious player.
But you know what's wild, though? It's actually crazy arrogance by Man City. We are so confident of our superiority in the league. We are so sure that we're good. We're actually going to give a Jesus to a potential rival, give a Sterling to a potential rival. Now, I think Chelsea got the wrong scraps from Man City because I would have taken Jesus over Sterling. But it's like Arsenal, even with Jesus, are not good enough to even say anything to Man City. But it just shows you how strong City are because it's something to look into that you are literally giving two of your pretty top-tier attacking players to other guys within your league because you're so confident of how good you are and how good you believe Haaland is going to be. So that's wild.
Yeah, listen, there's some serious players there. Some super chats here that says that Jesus heading up that press is fire. Absolutely true. This here says if Laporta didn't do what is best for the team, and that is selling Frenkie in this case, they would complain. People forget the amazing work the new board have done in the past year. Listen, look, Laporta is what Laporta is. He's not even the thing is, he's not even a liar.
The guy just talks a lot.
Yeah,
Man.
of
The guy
course.
just talks.
But that's part of what their job is. I keep saying this to people. To a degree, stop listening to what your managers, your owners, say publicly. They're giving you like 30-40% of the truth most of the time. You know, someone said yesterday, oh, I'm annoyed that Ten Hag isn't demanding more players. Well, he's being sensible. He's telling you we need more players, but if we don't get them, I can develop somebody. Because what you need to do is keep your own squad know you're lying, right? Your squad will know, oh, we need more players. But what they want is to be protected publicly. You know, and when you're the owner of a club, sometimes you just got to keep confusing everybody and throwing out, you know, curveballs, as it were. Like, I think people kind of, you know, taking the wrong way. And they have done a good job to turn things around at Barca. This super chat says Havertz is crap, given a free pass because of the Champions League goal. Do you agree with that, Have Hope?
Terry, man. Look, straight facts, yeah? Straight facts. That scoring the UCL winning goal buys you some time. But Terry, that time is running out, man. I mean, it's a great thing to do and everything, but bro, 70 mil, most expensive signing, that time is running out because, yeah, man, like, you've got to do a bit something, man. Yes, it's great what you did. It was an amazing moment for Chelsea. But yeah, the guy just, it's like, and my thing is that, is it Havertz or is it Tuchel? You know, maybe we'll find that out when he's under Hansi Flick at the World Cup, man. But yeah, Havertz, man, nah. He's not been it, bro. He's not been it. But there's a quality player that he is talented. Timo Werner has no talent. Timo Werner is stealing a living. I do not know how that spy managed to be professional.
But Timo Werner is almost impossible to get rid of, though. He's on 275,000.
Terry, there has to be a way. Terry, use your banking skills. How do we get rid of this dude?
How you get rid of him is you probably got to wait another year or so for his contract to run down. And eventually what you'll have to do, if he doesn't improve, is you'll have to let him leave for free so that a club can subsidize the wages he will demand and the fee together. So if they were willing to pay 20 million for him and pay him 100 grand a week, you guys might have to forego the vast majority of that transfer fee so they can put it into his wages. At least then you've got rid of him. That may be the only way to move him on. There is another update here very quickly on Jules Kounde from Matt Law, someone just sent me, that says, as of the Jules Kounde situation, Chelsea are still working on it. Worth remembering that Munchi is a notoriously tough operator, and Chelsea thought they had him last year, only for the goalpost to move very late. Barcelona situation not helping this time. Not done, but not over either, is what Matt Laura has got to say. What's interesting is Jules Kounde has got me 2 summers running, where the news has come out that it's done. You're like, boom, it's done. And then something's happened to stop it. Literally a madness deal. But that's coming directly from Matt Law, that it says it's not done, but it isn't over either. So very interesting.
We just have to wait. Like, for me, I don't want to say anything. We just have to wait because this is what's just here from transfers. I'm sure you'll know things can just change. Next day, things change. Next day, things can change. I was just reading something else right now. Do you know Timo Werner has said that he wants to leave the club?
He said that?
No, like, I'm just looking at the report right now. It says that Chelsea still have a number of players who want to leave the club, including captain Azpilicueta, Timo Werner, and Alonso. Obviously, Alonso and Azpilicueta, they want to go to Barcelona and so forth, and they're trying to work out the deal with Barca. And I think I've heard from time that Timo Werner says that he's not happy. Bro, if you're not happy, please get the heck out of this freaking club. Like, if he has to be played at centre-back, like what they're doing with Frenkie, play him at freaking centre-back, play him keeper, just, Terry, get this dude off this team, man. This is trash.
Yeah, look, I get that, but he might not be happy himself, but he's so hard to get rid of, as I say, because of the gargantuan wages that he's on. But he looked so poor last night, even in possession. His touches. Listen, there's people that question. I know you question Marcus Rashford at Man United. He makes Rashford look like Neymar.
Oh no! Look, I am not a huge fan of Rashford, and I still think the guy is trash. But bro, Timo Werner is one of the worst players at the top team I've seen for years. And bro, I've seen loads of guys. Bro, do you remember Poborski?
Karol Poborski?
Yeah, Poborski, yeah.
Yeah.
Where he just shoot the ball and he just basically, this is from way back in the day for United. But at least Poborski was effective. Yes, he just ran in a straight line and just hit the ball, but at least he was respect. Knicks, get the hell out of here. Knicks, get the hell out of there. But Terry, this dude, Timo Werner, he can't, no close control, is brainless, has no football brain, continues to overrun the ball. This man is a hindrance. So it's like, that's so, as much as you want to blame Tuchel, if you've got a bum-ass brick like Timo Werner in a team, what the hell are you supposed to freaking do? So
I do get that, and that's where I do have an element of sympathy for Thomas Tuchel, is that he hasn't really been given players yet. Like last year, they gave him Lukaku that he didn't want. No. And he ended up with, there are different reports to say that he did or he didn't want Sao Niguez, but he hasn't really been bought anybody. Let's wait and see Koulibaly. I mean, I thought Koulibaly looked quite tidy when he came on yesterday, but he came into a really bad situation. You're 3-0 down. He was brought on with the majority of the backup players and fringe players. It wasn't like the first team was out there. Let's see what happens with Jules Kounde and who you move on to afterwards, should you not get him. But a midfielder and another attacker are definitely needed. Because again, I've only watched him play a couple of times this preseason, but I've not been impressed in a Chelsea shirt with Conor Gallagher. Like, he doesn't look like the same. Yeah, I mean, listen, he might turn it on in the Prem, but the player that I saw at Palace last year, this must be his evil twin brother that's at Chelsea, because it isn't the same guy. It isn't the same guy at all.
It's one of those things where maybe Palace just works. It's just like, what's it called? Lingard at West Ham. Maybe Palace and that setup just works best for him. And because for me, he's no way he's good enough to start for Chelsea. No way. No chance. No way. And I think Chelsea fans, you have to stop being sentimental merchants. This need for like academy players to come through and play in the first team is stupid. No, you play if you're good enough to play. So many players in this team, they're not freaking good enough to play. And Tuchel has even said, I wanted 6 guys. I've only had 2. There's still other targets that I need. So the fact you're coming out and saying that, bro, we literally are not ready for the start of the season in 2 weeks. It's crazy, because when you look at that game, people say, it's preseason, it's a friendly. No, forget that. Arsenal look like they can play a Premier League game tomorrow. Chelsea look like if they need 5 or 6 weeks before they can play.
This comment here says,
this dude,
English Talent FC says, Rice, Kilman and Tony can save this Chelsea side. No, in fairness, Tony and Declan Rice could. They're both brilliant. Kilman, Kilman at Wolves. Not so much for me. John C here says the bench warmer tagline needs to stop for Jesus and Zinchenko. I'm open to the idea of Bowen, to be honest. Who knows who will get possible surprise? Well, that was the big story.
They were bench warmers though. Like Jesus and Zinchenko were bench warmers for City.
They were at City, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad players, because that's the point. Like, you can be on the bench. Once upon a time, Mo Salah and KDB were bench warmers at Chelsea, and now they're 2 of the top. They're like in the top 5 players in the Premier League, probably in the top 10, 15 players in Europe across most people's lists, as it were. But on Bowen to Arsenal, this kind of rumor, there's been a rumor for about a week, 2 weeks from Arsenal fans of this secret winger that the club's looking at. He who must not be named. And then last night, it just started trending everywhere. Bowen to Arsenal, Bowen to Arsenal, Bowen to Arsenal. Now, for full context on this, the ex-West Ham employee said on his Patreon today, and I'll quote what he said. So what was said last night from a source is that Arsenal have a meeting with West Ham winger Bowen's representatives next week. The mystery winger target is not just a one-man list, and Arsenal are exploring options. This won't be the first time that Arsenal have met with Bowen's camp. That was what was stated. Since then, though, I was looking for what the just trying to find this other report. Like you star things, and then you're like, where is it though? Hang on a second here. Let me just find this other report, because I want to get it accurate what the guy said. So what the ex West Ham employee, who's a very credible West Ham sources, said is that there have been some talk that Arsenal want to make a move for Bowen. We have been told that the club have no intentions of selling, and in fact will be offering him a much improved contract when the transfer window closes. So obviously West Ham no, he's not for sale. We don't expect to sell him. We're going to offer him a new deal. Firstly, though, if a proper bid went in from Arsenal and real interest went into Bowen from Arsenal, Do you think they could turn the player's head and change that situation?
For sure, 100%. You have to deal with the reality of the pyramid that exists within a league. Arsenal is a much more attractive destination than West Ham. So if Arsenal came in with a serious bid and showed serious interest in Bowen, Bowen would be crazy to be like, no, because Bowen knows that, bro. Arsenal, that's a move up. That's a leg up from where I am at West Ham. Like, it's no disrespect to West Ham and everything. They had an amazing season last season, but that would be a leg up. So if Arsenal showed real interest, Bowen's like, oh, wow, I have the chance to go to Arsenal. Then he'll go to the West Ham board and say, guys, come on. Now, maybe you're not handed a transfer. Maybe, first of all, you say, look, can I go? Hey, no, I want to keep you. Transfer request, man. I've got to push it. I've got to now use tactics to try to force this move. Arsenal, how serious are you? We're really serious. What do you need me to do? What moves can I do to sort of force this move and really force West Ham's hand? And what do they always say? If a player no longer wants to play for you or wants to leave, you've got to work out a deal for you. And I'm sorry, if David Moyes, if he went to Moyes and he says, bro, I don't want to be here. I want to leave West Ham. I want to join Arsenal. Moyes will be like, I know you're good for me and everything, but look, it is what it is. Let's try and work out a deal. So it depends on how serious Arsenal's interest will be on your boy Bowen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with anything that West Ham are saying here. They don't expect to sell him and they want to give him a new deal. It's about that head being turned. I think West Ham fans have grown a bit of a chest because they're like, well, we've kept Declan Rice. And that's because Declan Rice hasn't pushed for that move. If Declan Rice this morning wakes up and says, right, I'm going to push to get out the club now, it changes the whole scenario, the whole situation. And the point is, if Arsenal make a move and Bowen says, you know what? I know West Ham are on a good run. I know West Ham are building a good team. Skamaka's coming in. We've got Declan Rice. But this is still Arsenal Football Club. Arsenal Football Club compared to West Ham. I know West Ham fans won't like hearing this, but you are talking night and day, chalk and cheese. Yeah. There's a differential on a massive, massive level. And Bowen will fancy himself. And listen, I've seen Arsenal fans go, I'd be a great guy to add to our bench. Bowen won't come in thinking I'm going to be on the bench. Bowen will believe that he can come in and break into his first team, because whether it's Saka moving onto the left-hand side or him getting in front of Saka, he'll believe he can do it. Whether Arsenal fans think he's good enough or not is almost irrespective. The player will believe that's what he's coming to Arsenal Football Club to do. So I think if they really do meet with the camp next week, if they really do show a genuine interest in him, and that would be expensive, I think he's a very, very good talent. I'd love to see him get a move now, because the thing with Bowen is he's not young. Like people talk about him like he's young because he's new, but I think he's 26. I want to say he's 26. He's 25. He turns 26 this season. Yeah. It's kind of like this is when you want to be making that move. Clubs, you want to be making that move and get it done. And whether he's better than Saka or not, I don't care. Like he'll go in there and really want to make it work.
Like the whole point, what we're saying is, you're coming in to try to prove you can be in there. And that's what happens in training. Ask any manager, what is the ideal scenario for every manager? I want two great players in every position. So that player that's there, you have to keep looking over your shoulder. What I don't want is a player to say, I can play badly because what's the alternative? I want that guy to say that if you don't play well, there's a guy who is starving and hungry to take your place. So Bowen coming in, it shows that anybody that drops off, he's going to come in. And if he comes in and does well, now you're benched. Now, let's see how much you can hold your place by keeping up that high level. So you want as many options as possible, because if Bowen plays well enough and another guy drips down, now you're a starter now. It's all about competition. So you have to breed competition by getting alternatives for every position, man. So
you absolutely need to, as you say. And look, West Ham, they just won't be able to keep him if Arsenal really want to move. Like the only way they keep him is if they price him out of a move, and then it depends upon the player how much that player wants to get out. The one element that will probably help West Ham is that Arsenal don't have Champions League football right now. If Arsenal had Champions League, Floyd, my wire's a bit loose.
Oh wow!
Yeah. It's weird when it moves. You can hear it. Yeah. Crazy, right? If Arsenal had Champions League football, I think it would be a very, very different scenario indeed. But they don't. Like the Champions League football was there. There'd be almost no stopping this if they went in for him. But it is definitely an intriguing one. And Arsenal, we obviously praised them earlier, but I think if they had one more midfielder and another good quality attacker into this team, Arsenal are going to be such a threat next year.
Yeah, I mean, no, Arsenal. Well, those guys that look good. I think if I think maybe like another defender, another attacker, maybe another creative. Because look, Odegaard is there, but I think another like a playmaker. Which is why I think that Dybala would have been pretty interesting if they got him, or like an Eriksen, just another guy to help create for a Jesus, Saka, and so forth. But I'll be real, man. I was super impressed with Arsenal, man. They looked good, man. They look good. Like they look like an actual team.
Yeah, they most certainly did. There's a super chat here from Keenan that says, how much do you think Ati would realistically demand to free João Felix if Ronaldo comes in? I think Atleti will consider an offer. Sorry, I was up really late last night watching the football. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I had to drive all the way to Essex and back today, so I've been I was knackered. If Ronaldo come in, do you think Atleti will consider offers?
Oh no, I think no. This is whole. I think what I was reading was Griezmann. So they want to sell Griezmann to bring in Cristiano. That's what I was reading. So I don't think Felix. Nah, that's not happening. They're keeping on to Felix though, because they spend so much for him and everything. So they are buying into the whole Felix stock, and they want to say, let's not pair Felix with Cristiano and so forth. So Felix, that's not happening. Griezmann is the one that they want to put out there to try to create space for a Cristiano. Wait, do you still feel Cristiano is going to go this summer? Or
I think he'll leave if a club can. I think Ati want to see if they can raise the money to be able to afford him. He'll go. If a good quality Champions League team comes in for him, he's already said he'll take pay cuts. He just wants to. I said it all along. I don't think it's anything to do with Man United's transfer policy, the manager, the way the club's run. He wants to be kicking the ball in the Champions League. He cannot allow in his mind Lionel Messi to be scoring Champions League goals when he can't add to it. Like, he just wants to, honestly, I think, of course, he wants to win trophies again. He'd love to win a Ballon d'Or. But at the very least, what he wants to keep doing is adding 5, 6, 7 goals a season until he can onto that Champions League tally. Because if he keeps doing that, no, because the thing is, if he beats Messi, whoever wins the race out of Messi and Ronaldo to have the most goals ever in the Champions League, I don't think that record will ever be broken. So for him, I think he just wants to have his name in lights for eternity. Like
people have said that, because I agree with you, but people keep saying that Haaland is going to break it. I'm like, no, nobody is breaking that Cristiano record. I believe nobody will. I don't think Messi will break his record, because I just think Messi is in the PSG system where he's less of a goal scorer, more of a playmaker. Nobody is breaking Ronaldo's UCL record. It's not happening. It's not happening. That thing is going to stand.
In terms of the goals that he's got. So he has 141. Messi's on 125. The problem is, if Ronaldo went off to the MLS now and Messi played 3 more seasons, he only has to score 17 goals over 3 years. That's doable for Messi. Do you know what I mean?
No. It's doable, but look at PSG's setup. You have to cater for Mbappe. They just bought this new striker as well. You also have Neymar in there. And also Messi has preferred to be much more of a creator, playmaker, and a bit of a goal scorer. It is possible, but don't bank on it, because the Messi of 2022 in the Messi of 2011 or of 2012. So, but I understand Cristiano's point of view. He's like, no, I have to be in the UCL. For my brand and so forth, I can't have my brand of Cristiano Ronaldo in the Europa League.
In the Europa League. Yeah. No, I hear it completely. I think if he has one more, say he goes to Ati and scores 6 goals, 7 goals in the Champions League, I think then he'd probably go, right, he'd probably do 2 years. If he has 2 more years and scores 12 goals, I think he'll go, right, I'm pretty safe that Messi won't catch it now, because he ain't going to play for another 3 or 4 years after me and whatever else. Like, he wants that record so badly.
Oh, for sure.
It's unbelievable. And of course, he'd love the possibility of winning. I think Ronaldo probably knows in his heart of hearts, unless he went Bayern Munich, I think he knows he's probably never winning the Champions League again. As a starting striker, you know, I think he knows that. I think he knows he's never going to win a Ballon d'Or again. However, do you think he could? Do you think he could?
No, he could. I've never seen a guy that has so much self-belief like Ronaldo. 100%, he believes that if he moves to an Atleti or a Bayern, he can win a Champions League, for sure. And I think that he believes that if he has a good enough year, he can win another Ballon d'Or. I think when you just look at the Ronaldo fanboys, his fan base, and just how he carries himself, I told you, Ronaldo will not retire voluntarily. Injury will force him to retire. He will not retire voluntarily, because he just has He buys so much into this whole Ronaldo mystique and so forth that he really believes that, yeah, I can win another UCL, I can win another Ballon d'Or, for sure.
I hear that. Viewers, just under 300 more likes for me to gift 10 free memberships away. So make sure that like button is being smashed. One of the teams that's interested in, one of the teams that Ronaldo's interested in is Bayern Munich. There's an interesting link between Bayern Munich and Harry Kane in the last day or so. Now, Antonio Conte has come out and slammed this. How dare you speak about our player in public? Fabrizio Romano today said this is not going to happen. This is untouchable. There's no way this deal happens. Bayern Munich, if they came in and put in a serious bid, first question is, do you think Harry Kane's head would be turned? Second question is, should his head be turned?
Good. Those are two really good questions, man. Will his head be... that's a good question. I would say maybe yes, the second one. The first one is tough. Before Conte came in, I would say yes to both. But I think for Kane, the reason why it's difficult to answer the first one is he's like, Conte could be creating something here. Like, look at last season. They beat Man City twice. And now they've now strengthened in the summer. So this seems to... So it's like, if it can just be more consistent, we know we can beat Man City, and we should have beaten Liverpool twice as well. So he's like, I've got a good thing going on here. I'm not moving to a Bayern that's a much younger manager. Like, what's it called? Nagelsmann is around our age, you know? So he's a very young guy, doesn't really have as much experience as Conte. I know it's a Bayern, but maybe this Tottenham under Conte is much more of a safer bets than Bayern. But at the same time, another angle is I want to win trophies. Yes, all these records are good. I want to have some silverware. I go to Bayern, I'm guaranteed a Bundesliga. I'm guaranteed a DFB Pokal. And I've got a very good chance of winning a Champions League. Because if I now go, I've got Gnabry, I've got Coleman, I've got Sané, I've got Sadio Mane, I've got Thomas Muller, I've got Joshua Kimmich. That's a crew. Kane as Bayern with that crew are good enough to win a Champions League, for sure. 100% they're good enough to win a Champions League.
Yeah.
So
I think there's club loyalty, and I get that there's an element of loyalty that's got to Tottenham. I think having nearly left and then committing yourself to them again, there's an element of, can I really do this again? There's Alan Shearer's Premier League goal scoring record as an example. Like, that'd be nice to have. But I keep saying this to people, individual player records. In the generation I grew up watching football, whenever Ryan Giggs was questioned about another player record, another appearance record, whenever Rooney was questioned around, would you like more goals? Would you like more of this? The answer was always the same. As long as they're winning trophies, I don't care. I remember Ryan Giggs said when he retires, he might look back at some of the individual achievements and go, great. But all he focuses on day in, day out is what makes the team better and what wins the most amount of trophies, which is why I hold important players in teams winning major trophies above and beyond everything else, because that's their focus. Their focus is very rarely, I want to be the Ballon d'Or winner. If I do this though, I might get into the PFA Team of the Year. That was never their motivation. So maybe things have changed a little bit. However, Harry Kane can win the Golden Boot 6 years on the bounce between now and when he retires. He can get the most Prem goals ever. He can get the best Premier League goals ever. He can break all of Spurs' records, be the greatest player in Tottenham's history. If he doesn't win a league title or a Champions League, he doesn't have a proper legacy in football. He doesn't have one. We cannot, for me, be moving goal. Okay, when I say doesn't have a proper legacy, he does at Tottenham. I'll give you an example. Matt Letizia at Southampton is an absolute god. And he's also a kind of Premier League legend. But it's more folklore. It's kind of like, how good could he have been if he went to a bigger club? But he didn't go to a team in the Champions League. He didn't go to a team that could challenge for the title. By choice, by the way. And that's on him. You need to do it. You know, in no other sport that I can think of, and you might be able to find an obscure or sort of rare example, someone like Jimmy White in snooker, where you're a superstar, where you're looked at as a legend, but you've never won the major trophies. It very rarely happens. And the fact that you might be able to...
Sorry, in any sports, you need trophies, man.
No,
I don't know of any sports...
Mate, again, somebody will pull out a name and go, well, this person's a legend in golf and they've never won a major. Like you can get these little examples, but the vast majority of the legends that we look at, the absolute stalwarts, the Hall of Famers, they win. and they win the major. They win the major belts. Sometimes you get put into Hall of Fames because you're a pioneer, because of other things that you've done. But Harry Kane can win all those individual awards, all the golden boots, top goal scorer. He needs to be winning league titles. He needs to be winning Champions Leagues. And if Bayern Munich actually came in and went, listen, forget Levy saying yes or no, that isn't even the conversation. I'm talking about Harry Kane. If they put a bid in and Harry Kane's first response is, no, I want to stay here, he has to be 110% cast iron sure that Spurs are backing Conte, are going to keep Conte happy, and that they're going to win something major. Because if they don't, he's wasted his career. And I think it's a shame for a player of his level, his ability to waste. We tease Steven Gerrard because he didn't win Premier Leagues, but he won a Champions League. He won FA Cups. He won Europa UEFA Cups. He won League Cups. He won everything but the Premier League.
The league.
But he still gets teased. Harry Kane will never be able to live it down. And yeah, he might not care. Like, Spurs, it'll dine out for the rest of his life. Spurs fans will do this. He'll have a statue at Tottenham. Imagine having a statue for achieving greatness, but never winning a major trophy.
Yeah, no. That's trash. That's trash.
For me, if I was his agent and Bayern Munich wanted him, I said, I know it's going to cause rickets, but we've got to push for this move again. Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich.
And I think Kane realizes that, I think, which is what's happened with the whole Man City thing. I think Kane realizes that this whole thing of being at Tottenham and so forth and breaking records, no one cares. And that's why I don't have much respect for Kane. I appreciate what he does in terms of the goals scored, but for me, those goals have to come with silverware. It has to come with something that I can touch and hold. And I now see you in that semi-final situation, in that final situation. So when we now look at whether we compare a Lewandowski, a Benzema, Carlos Suarez, we talk about not only their goals, what they did in the Champions League, what they did for that league title, what they did for that trophy. Your goals have to amount to something. They can't just be goals for the sake of scoring goals. The goals have to lead and amount to something. And I just believe that, I think Tottenham will do good this year. They're not beating Man City. I feel my crazy take is Tottenham comes second behind Thingy, but I don't think they beat Man City. So they could win an FA Cup. They could. They're not winning a Champions League, so they could win an FA Cup or a Karabuki Cup. But again, it's very competitive. It's very competitive. And I just think that, if I was Kane's agent and Bayern come in, that's the move to make. Because Lewandowski has gone. There's literally a space there for you. And even beyond just the Bundesliga, if you give me Kane, Muller, Mane, Sane, Gnabry, that's a team that can win the Champions League. They can. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. And listen, he's got his loyalties, he's got his own thoughts and his own feelings. But yeah, it'll be intriguing to see what he does. Comment here says, yesterday's game was an indication why Thomas Tuchel has been targeting defenders. Also, losing that midfield battle yesterday shows why we need new midfielders. The transition from defense to offense is slow. That's a fair point. It was slow yesterday. It really was slow yesterday.
And against Charlotte as well, against Charlotte's Web. So
yeah, it's going to be intriguing. It's going to be intriguing to see which it goes. Someone here says a Twitch gang get no love over here. Well, there's your love, brother. So thank you very much for tuning in and for watching. How close are you, though, have hope to turning on Tuchel as a Chelsea fan, or are you still quite relaxed that he's the right man to take your club forward?
At the moment, I am indifferent, because that's UCL final seems a long way away now. For me, I'm just waiting. So if let's say this was the pendulum and this was support and this was against, I'm sort of just leaning towards here, but not quite there. So right now I'm like, okay, you know what? Everton, Lampard, first game of the season. Let's see what happens. I think Tottenham is in a few weeks. I think Tottenham is the second, third, or fourth game of the season. So let's see what happens. First 4 games. Now, we've seen teams struggle in the first 4 games and they've gotten better. But if the results are bad and the performance is bad and the team looks shambolic and it's always as if, these guys have lost their way, then I think it's dangerous. When Aston lost those games, they just lost the games. They didn't look shambolic. It was just that we just lost to the better team. But if Chelsea are losing and the football is bad and it seems as if the team is out of sorts, then it's like, okay, something is deep. Because you have a guy saying that there are guys here who want to leave. So there are guys here who are not fully committed. So he literally has called out the efforts of these guys. So what kind of response is that going to get? Because we know what happens when with Mourinho when he said, "Boom, this is what happened." So those first 3 games are going to be very key, because if the results are bad, Tuchel is going to be trending. It's going to be a thing. And I think, okay, if you do Tuchel, okay, who did not bring in? I would have never sacked Sarri personally, but it is what it is.
I mean, David here says, Terry, most Chelsea fans have always been Tuchel out. Well, especially the Frank Lampard's boys. they certainly have always kind of never really been behind Tuchel. But that's what always happens. There's always agendas, and as soon as the results dry up, those agendas come straight. Like Man United fans all summer have been fairly happy, and then we have a poor result, and suddenly the Bruno compilations are out, the De Gea attack starts. Like, it's just, what's ever fashionable comes out. People can't hold it in long enough, that they want to bring it out.
Quick question: who scores more goals, Haaland or Nunes in the Premier League only?
Haaland. Haaland's just phenomenal. Again, I think he will. I think Nunes. I'm not one of these people that jumped on this bandwagon that Nunes is going to be poor. He's I've not jumped.
Terry,
on it.
That's YouTube comps. No, me. I think we should wait and see. But Terry, that is the worst YouTube comps for a player I've ever seen in my life. So I'm just being like, that is the worst YouTube comps. And the amount of people that DM'd me after he missed from like 5 yards out and so forth that preseason game. But my thing is that, look, we have to give everyone time. Because it is so easy to be like, oh, let's just hate on your boy Charles Darwin. Let's give him time. But Terry, if in the event, somehow in some crazy alternate Doctor Strange world, that Nunes scores more goals than Haaland, because Haaland, there's a lot of hype. Now, I think he'll score goals, but there's been a lot of hype from Haaland, man.
There is, but it all depends on what the way it's going to work. Last season, there was no real attention on Jack Grealish not doing very well because they won the league. And if City win the league and or the Champions League, but Haaland only scores 15 goals, no one's going to talk about it. It's one of them things. Listen, you guys had Didier Drogba at your club, and he was clutch, and you guys loved him. But if he was scoring at that rate, but you weren't winning Premier Leagues and major trophies, he would have been ridiculed. Because it's all about the context of everything. So, but I do think he'll score lots of goals. I actually think Jack Grealish is going to have a very good second season as well. Raheem Sterling's gone. I think there'll be more opportunity for him. Yes, there'll be rotation because Guardiola always rotates. But yeah, have hope. After Southgate wins the World Cup, he's available for Chelsea.
relax.
I like that's a good super chat. That's a good bit of banter. I know Conte does not have a great European pedigree, but I think the Spurs team is built as a cup team. I think the Spurs team won't give up a lead.
No, yeah. For me, like, I still believe my crazy take is Tottenham to come second, and I think Tottenham should really go for that Carabao Cup or FA Cup. I think they have a good chance to win one of those two trophies. So
they definitely do. They can definitely do something. I'm not saying Harry Kane is wrong if he stays. He might not even have the option to go. But if he stays,
Levy will never allow it though.
Levy might not allow it. But if he stays, like, he has to really he has to win something. He has to win something. And who knows? Listen, Antonio Conte is one of the best league managers in the world. If they had James Maddison to this team and a centre back, if they were to bring in Pau Torres and James Maddison, if Conte gets them to click, they could be a real threat. The problem that you've got is that City and Liverpool are just both so good. I can kind of see Tottenham having a good enough season to maybe finish in front of one of them, but it's finishing in front of both of them that's so hard. It's like the tennis era, isn't it? How many more Grand Slams would Andy Murray have won if he only had to compete against Federer, Nadal, or Djokovic? If it was Andy Murray plus one of those two, Murray would have won 10 slams.
Oh yeah. He won more,
if not more. But he didn't. He had all three to beat. So he had to in Grand Slams. Andy Murray had to be better than all three of them throughout the tournament. That's so hard when they're the three greatest players of all time. It's crazy.
No, you just said well. We want to say, like, not only three of them, but they are arguably three of the best tennis players ever. Like, I grew up in the era of Sampras and Agassi, and those three guys are better than both of those two.
Oh, yeah. And that's what's and there's an element of that right now. City and Liverpool are so good to win the league, to be better than both of them. Is so hard. If you only had City and City had an off year, you can beat them to the league title. But
Yeah.
City and Liverpool both regressing while you get better. It's the odds are so thin. They're so thin.
I wish I could just do experiments to take like peak Fergie or peak United in this era, because you know how they say that you do as well as your opponent. So Fergie was like, okay, Wenger, all right, this is what I need to do to change. Mourinho, this is what I need to do to change. Okay, City. So these guys are now getting 95 plus points. Would Fergie be able to match that and even be able to beat Pep? Because we're now seeing guys grab the most points over a few seasons that we've ever seen in Premier League history. So my thing is, how would peak Fergie be able to sort of match that and now go up against this new threat of like, bro, these guys are breaking points record?
Well, I think he could, based on the history, as you just said. He did it every other time. Whenever a new challenge was put up against him, he broke it down. I always get, I know it's banter when people turn around and say, oh, but like, he didn't get the better of Pep. Yeah, Pep and Fergie started playing against each other when Fergie was at the end of his career and Pep was at the beginning. It's a bit like, when Danny Williams knocked out Mike Tyson. It's a bad example because Danny Williams never went on to be a world-class fighter. When Klitschko and Tyson Fury fought, Klitschko was towards the end of his career. Does that make sense? I'm not suggesting that Tyson Fury didn't deserve to beat him, but they weren't fighting in their peak. Sometimes it's the timing of two fighters. The up and coming new superstar versus a player that's past his best. And Fergie was part, between those years, Fergie was in the twilight right at the end of his career. I think if Fergie was 10 years younger, he could have gone toe-to-toe with Pep. We don't know who would have come out on top. Maybe Pep would have still got the better of him, but Fergie would have landed some big blows and won some trophies. Would have worked out a way to beat him, I think. But it's timing sometimes, and Pep was just one step too far for Fergie. That was in his 70s, and he had to kind of move on. But I think Fergie would have adapted because Fergie, like a lot of these managers, by the way, he was a pioneer himself. Like Fergie was the guy that took the drinking culture out. Like people praise Wenger for being the guy that brought in the dietary stuff, but you wouldn't have fixed the diet if the alcohol hadn't already been taken out, because you fixed the alcohol, then it was a diet. And do you know who actually was the manager that brought sports science into the Premier League properly? Sam Allardyce.
What?
Sam Allardyce was the
Big Sam.
Big Sam was the guy that really pioneered like the sports science element of football. I didn't realize that. Wow. I was reading the book, and they were like, "Yeah, Sam Allardyce was the guy. Like it existed. He didn't invent it, but he was the guy that really went. Listen, we need to start utilizing this, and that's how he was able to get like a good amount of points out of teams that should never have been in the Prem, because it was like, well, actually, you read the data analytics and go, well, we're better when we do this, and actually, we can't play him. We can't play Joe Bloggs in that position because he burns out. But actually, if we play John Smith, he's not as good, but he's got better lungs and he can just run all day, and we can stick him man marking someone and take him out of the game. Very clever, very clever.
Yeah, so basically, all those long balls and everything was all down to science, man. All those long balls that he was putting to Kevin Davis was all down to science.
Well, it was almost the case. Well, if we try and outplay them, we'll lose. No, so let's look at new ways of doing it. And that was a peak.
And which is why people hated playing Bolton. They hated playing them.
Oh, they did. The same as people. That's why everyone was happy that Burnley went down, because Burnley just made it hard for you. Burnley weren't as good as his Bolton team. Remember that Bolton team had JJ. JJ was in that team amongst others. Like there's some really talented players. And the guy had at one point Nicolas Anelka before he went to Chelsea. Like really good players there. But yeah, like it's interesting. So on the Fergie, do I think Fergie would have been able to adapt to how things are? Yeah, because we saw consistently through his career he adapted. This guy started managing in the 70s. Imagine how much adaptation you need to have in terms of your interpersonal skills between being a manager in 1970 in Scotland and a manager in 2013 in the world that we lived in. He had to adapt and change every 5 to 10 years anyway. So the evidence is there that he did. And would he have stepped up to this? Of course he would have done. But we don't know for sure.
Oh, no, it's just
history. I'd say yes.
Because I'm just saying, like, it's just like, I don't know how you beat City, man. I just don't know. Like, for me, like, again, like, how do you beat these guys? Like, like, these guys are they've just raised the game to such a high level. And now, if Haaland now comes in and he really is firing on all cylinders, man, bro, like, what do you do? What do you do? Like, Liverpool twice have got 90 plus points and lost it by 1 point because these guys are just that damn good. Yeah, man, it's Premier League is looking a bit iffy, man, in terms of competitiveness, because guys come close, but City are a beast, man. These guys are a beast.
There's been a report that's just come out that says Barcelona and Sevilla have agreed a price for the player, and Jules Kounde has rejected. Someone sent this to me. Rejected Chelsea, and he will join Barcelona, is what's just been said by the Barca press in relation to that. Yeah, lots of people posting it in here now. That's done, but as we said, done deal soon. They said it's going to be a done deal soon, and it looks like it. Well, again, if this news is to be believed, then it is nothing from any of the tier ones as of now. But we will see. We'll see what happens. Conte is a great league manager, but Pep is a better league manager with a better squad. United will finish in the top 4, whilst Chelsea and Arsenal will miss out, is what Zane believes there. Listen, have hope. Really appreciate you having you on, people. Lots of shows coming up for you next week. The Done Deal show with Dean Jones, Ben Jacobs, Straight Facts back with Jess. Lee Gunner coming back a week early because he's angry because Arsenal are doing well. Top 6 show tomorrow at 6. So lots coming up for you on the Football Terrace. Please make sure that like button is smashed before you leave. The biggest mistake Man United not to hire Pep. Oh, massive. We should. If Pep was the replacement of Fergie, the world would be different. Because remember, we spent the money. We just didn't have the right people spending it correctly. That's what's crazy. Listen, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again.